we can start now. And thank you for stopping by.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so who we have in today is Javi Payan, one of the famous Payans. So we gotta give him a little round of applause. So like one thing I want to talk to you about is I kind of get to know you, because I feel like, you know, you're a good friend to me, but like I feel like I don't really know you. So
it's crazy how that works. I mean, I feel like I've known you for a long time too.
Yeah, that's what it is. I feel like I've known you for a minute, and it's all love between us too. But what I want to know is, and for the people that are going to be watching this or listening to this on either Spotify or Apple Podcasts or on YouTube, who, like, I hate to ask this question all the time because people always say, "Oh, wow, it's so deep." But who are you?
Oh man, I'm one of the Payans, I guess.
Yeah.
I've heard it so many times from my little cousins and younger cousins and family. When they call them Payans, who are they talking to? But I didn't know that was a thing. But my name's Javi, born and raised in Vegas. Working in the construction industry. I'm a project superintendent, and I've been doing that for 10 plus years.
And you said that you were born in Vegas, right?
Born and raised in Vegas.
So you went to Silverado. I know you graduated in 2007?
2008.
2008. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yep, a long time ago.
Oh, man. Well, I graduated in 2012, and I think that's a long time ago, too. Did you actually go to your... Has it been 10 years? Yeah, right?
Yeah,
it has, 2017.
12 years almost.
Did you go to your high school reunion?
We did.
How was it?
Oh, man, I had a blast. It was nice to see a lot of friends and people to catch up with, and it was like we were all back in high school.
What do you recommend people that... Because there's a lot of people that think they're too cool to go to their high school reunion and stuff. What do you recommend people to go to theirs?
I mean, I had a blast, and, you know, everyone that was there had a blast, and it's just up to whoever, you know, up to your discretion, but I'd recommend it. It's nice to connect and see where everyone's at, and, you know, kind of just go from there.
That's cool, man. So once you finished high school, obviously you went to Silverado. You went to UNLV, my alma mater. I'm former or alumni, fellow alumni. You went for construction, you said, right?
Correct. Yeah, I studied construction management.
So like, did you work construction before going into construction management?
I graduated from high school and worked with my dad for some time. And while I was in school, I was working full time, and I also worked a weekend job at a restaurant, bussing tables. Basically did that for most of my college career. Yeah,
man, it sounds familiar because like I worked full time and I went to school full time, so it's definitely like it's not for the faint of heart.
For sure.
And it takes a lot of grind and a lot of focus and a lot of good time management. Even though I thought I didn't have it, I guess I did because I ended up making it happen.
I figured that out after my first semester. I'll tell you that much.
One thing I learned, especially because I always like to ask questions and not just to be nosy, just to learn. And when I was struggling, because I struggled through college, because I think in order for you to do well in college, you need time.
For sure.
And I felt like I didn't have that. So like whenever like obviously I didn't flunk out of college and I didn't flunk out of classes, but it was just very difficult for me to keep up with everything that was going on.
Yep.
And I would always compare myself to people.
Yep.
And that's one of the mistakes I've did, like as a young person. Like, well, I'm still young, but just going through college and not really having like the blueprint, because I'm the only one in my family that went. So, other than my cousin graduated. He lives in California, but he kind of in a way did set the blueprint. But just knowing that like I'm stressing out about, you know, like not getting sleep, going to work, waking up, going to school, going to work,
studying,
going to school,
homework,
going to work, having a girlfriend, like all this other stuff, and I was just stressing out. And then one day I went to my one of my best friends' graduations for college, and then I'm over here like I still need 3 more years, and she already graduated. I'm over here like, well, first of all, congratulations. I don't want to like. There's no negative thing there.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to one of her sisters because she was in a sorority. I don't know what sorority was, but I was like, hey, because she graduated from hospitality as well, and I was like, how was hospitality? Was it difficult? And she's like, no. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, I'm over here having the hardest time of my life. Like this is so hard, and it's like it's not like rocket science or anything, but it's just like to me it's just very difficult balancing everything out and doing all the like work, and everything was very tedious. And you like for hospitality, you need an internship. So you have to, in addition to going to school, you have to get an intern. Anyway, so I was having a very hard time, and I asked her that, and then her answer stuck with me for like a week, and I couldn't sleep, and I was like, man, like this.
Yeah.
Am I dumb or something? And then the next thing you know, I call my friend. I'm like, hey, like your friend, she said that it was easy for her. Like, is she like a genius or something? And she's like, no, like oh, like she's like very what was it? I'm not saying privilege as in a bad thing, but she's like she had the privilege of only focusing on work. I'm in school, not having to work and all that, and good for her. Like, because that's, and at the end of the day, I used to be angry about that, but the more I think about it, I'm like, if I have kids, that's how I want them to be. But obviously, be a little bit more responsible. Have a job. Know how to like make their money and stuff. But it was eating me alive knowing that. Why can't I do it? You know what I mean? And then she was telling me it was too easy.
Man, kids that showed up just to the class to take the exam and get an A, and I'm here studying for like 2 weeks and still get like a B- or a C or barely even passing grade. I was like, man, like that would upset me a lot too. So it definitely took a lot of work. It took me 6 years to graduate.
Same for me.
So, but I'm not mad at it. I had a great time, and, I'm happy where I'm at now. So I think everything happens for a reason, and, we're here now. Yeah,
it definitely is. It took me a while too, and I was upset about it because I was like, man, I just need this to be over, man. Like,
oh man.
What was the hardest part for you being in college?
The late nights. I had so many late nights because I've always said this, and I probably shouldn't say this about myself, but like, I wasn't smart. I felt that I wasn't smart, so I had to apply myself. I had to read the chapter multiple times before I understood like what one thing meant. So to me, that was very hard, that I had to spend so much time in the library or at the coffee shops, wherever, just trying to understand something simple where, at the end of the day, I might have figured it out, but it would just take so long, and then I'd only get 4 or 5 hours of sleep, if that, So that was a struggle, and that was hard for me.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree with that. Being that, okay, so you said that you were bussing tables. Where were you bussing tables at?
I worked at Firefly.
Firefly, nice.
Yep, back
I love Firefly.
It used to be popping, man. Bussing tables was fun back then.
Yeah, that's tight, man. I go there with my friend. I go with Payan, actually. So, Jennifer, sorry.
Yeah.
But was that your first job?
My first job was at Nike.
Nike,
real job where I was...
Oh, because you're working with your dad.
Yeah, so I'd work summers with my dad starting in high school. So at 14, 15, I was already working with my dad in the summers. And then I started working at Nike when I was a senior in high school.
It was probably like the cool job to have when you were a senior.
Yeah, man. But I was spending all my checks on shoes. So,
yeah, that's good. I would too.
I'm glad I did that then, and I'm not doing it now. It's a learning progress.
Yeah, I always like, whenever I get people, even outside of podcasting, I always try to ask them like what their first job is, because it doesn't say a lot about you, but it's just like, it's cool to know like what was people's first job, because not everybody has their first job like the same. But for me, I worked at I don't know if you ever had it. It's called the Cupcakery.
Yeah.
That was my first job, but like I wasn't like baking or anything. I was just like retail. I was just like decorating cupcakes and selling them. Yeah, that's about it. But it was cool, man. It was like,
you now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Humble beginnings for sure.
Yeah.
But I remember like it's my first job, and I'm over here expecting I'm like to get paid like 20-25 an hour. And then once they told me like, oh, I'm only gonna get paid $9.25, which is not bad for like my first job.
Yeah.
I'm like, in my head I was like, fuck no. Yeah. And then I was like, all right, I guess I'll take it. Like, it's whatever.
Yeah. And I was getting like $8.25 at Nike, and I was working like 4 days a week, because then I started college, and then I started working with dad. So no, I probably only worked like 2, maybe 3 days a week, because it was Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Okay.
So I was getting like $200, which was enough for gas at that time. So it wasn't a lot.
Yeah, see, I was probably getting the same, and what pissed off all my coworkers, because they would have to like, that was their job that they made a living out of. All my like money, like the Cupcakery is right next to a Red Robin. And for lunch,
I know what you're talking about.
And for lunch, I would just go to Red Robin, and basically half my entire paycheck, like for that day, is going to Red Robin. Yeah. And everybody's all mad because I'm over here eating good shit, and they're over here like with their cup of noodles, and like now I get it, and I'm such a dick for doing that.
Yeah.
But And tampoco ofrecía. Like, I wasn't like, oh, here, you want some? Like, it was like, damn, you guys are grown ass adults. You guys should like.
Man, Red Robin was a spot. At least for me back then, I used to go there all the time.
Oh yeah, you did. You lived by there.
School, yeah, that was close by.
That was your spot.
That was the spot popping on Friday nights.
Yeah, for us is it was Wendy's, but we got kicked out. I went to Valley. We got kicked out. It was a funny story though. That, man, it's ghetto, bro. Not ghetto. It was just people were wilding. You know what I mean? Like what happened is that. I guess like the football players and cheerleaders went to Wendy's after school, and it was before a game, so they're all waiting for the game, so they're just lounging around, and one thing leads to another, and they start jumping over the counter and then start like doing stupid stuff. So we ended up getting banned from Wendy's. Everybody that went to Valley, like. If you went to Valley, you couldn't go to Wendy's.
Oh, wow.
When really, like, they kind of did us a favor because Wendy's is trash.
And Wendy's is right across the street. Isn't it? Like, literally right.
Yeah, they lost a lot of business for sure.
I was about to say.
It doesn't make any sense.
Dang. Yeah, man, some good times in high school, man. That was probably the best. I played soccer in high school, and that was probably some of the best times I ever had playing soccer.
I don't want to say it's my peak, but I definitely wish I could go back to do some things differently, but I definitely had a really good time in high school. There's a lot of people that I know that are like, fuck high school. People that are very close to me, I'm not gonna air them out. They're like, no, I hated high school. High school sucked.
Oh man, I had a great time compared to college, where I was struggling and working 3 jobs and trying to just make ends meet in college. It was nice in high school to not have to do all that and just essentially have fun. And
that's probably what it was that made it more fun, because you didn't really have the stress of being an adult yet. So.
Exactly.
One thing I do know is you worked at Fossil for a bit, right?
I worked at Fossil, yeah.
How was that?
It was closer to home. It was super easy. It was fun. I mean, it was all right, but it wasn't like ideal. I quickly got the job at Firefly when I started at Fossil.
Okay, so you just bounced out.
Yeah, so I left after I want to say 4 or 5 months or something.
4 or 5 months?
Yeah.
I think, honestly, I haven't had that many jobs, to be honest. I've started with, so I started with the Cupcakery. Went to In-N-Out. In-N-Out, I went to the Aria.
Is that how you met my cousin?
In-N-Out.
Sure.
Yeah, I did. I worked at In-N-Out for a bit. So really,
shout out to Jenny.
Yeah, shout out to Jenny and In-N-Out. Yeah. In-N-Out was definitely like my life. That's what we would say. Like In-N-Out's my life.
Yeah.
But I met Jenny there. She's still cool peeps with me. She kind of saved my ass a lot of times with the whole legal stuff, getting pulled over or whatever. So shout out to Jenny real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I wanted to ask you. So you. Okay. You're a big Lil Wayne fan, right?
Lil Wayne, No Ceilings, everything.
Everything. How do you feel about them releasing it on Spotify?
That was dope. I liked it. It took me back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I think they changed a couple of them. Like, not all the songs are there.
Yeah.
But is that your favorite mixtape?
Oh, man.
I would say No Ceilings, and for the sake of that, we're talking about Lil Wayne.
Yeah. From him, probably, because that's probably the one that I know a lot of songs of.
How old are you when that came out?
Probably 15 or 16. Oh, man. We thought we were cool back then. 14, 15 years old.
Dang. No, I don't think that's right, because No Ceilings, when No Ceilings came out, I was 16.
Okay.
So you must have been 18. I
must have been 18.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 30.
30.
Maybe older, who knows? Lil Wayne was the hits all through high school.
Definitely. I feel like growing up, Lil Wayne was in every song, every remix. I think back then, remixes were a big thing. I can't wait for the remix video to come out.
Yeah.
The remix.
Yeah. I just listened to "Welcome to My Hood" yesterday.
Okay.
Man, that song is banging.
What song for you brings you back to a space and time where you were young kid?
Oh, as a young kid,
having a good time.
Right when you asked that, the first initial song that popped in my head was "Tell Me When to Go."
Tell Me When to Go. That was 06?
High school, yeah. So I want to say that was probably 15 years old.
Wow.
I want to say I was a sophomore. I didn't even drive yet, and we were already learning how to ghost ride
the whip.
So we had friends that were juniors or seniors, so that's who would be doing that.
Oh my God. It definitely, I feel I was probably living under a rock before that, but I feel because of that song, the Bay just took over everywhere.
For sure.
I feel because of that, all of us, I don't know if you say it, I think it's a very Vegas thing, because whenever I go to LA, I was born in LA. I gotta stop saying I'm from LA, because I'm from here.
Got you.
I was raised my whole life here. I was 2 years old when I got here, so like I'm from Vegas.
Yeah.
But I was born in LA, and every time I go to LA, my cousins always make fun of me for saying hella.
Yeah, we all say hella.
Yeah, we all say hella.
Sure.
Okay,
I say it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's I guess, but I guess if you dive deep into where like the word comes from, it's from the Bay.
Okay. Cool.
So
I love the Bay. Shout out to the Bay homies.
Never been there actually.
Oh, you got to, man. It's something else. The weather, obviously, the vibe, and it's very different from the city of San Francisco to like the East Bay. I learned that by living out there and working out there. Totally two completely different cities. So if
different cultures too.
Yeah,
right?
if you refer to the Bay and you are talking to someone from, the homies from Hayward and all that, and they're like, man, like, are you talking about the Bay or the city? Like that's where that's at.
Okay, so it makes sense why the Golden State Warriors say the city on their jerseys.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But you said growing up, you're from Vegas. What's your favorite basketball team?
I honestly never even really had a favorite basketball team either. I liked a lot of players. Players was like, even for football, it was like my thing. I'd follow players. Obviously, Kobe was one. I like Steve Nash a lot. Who else? And honestly, I didn't even watch a lot of it just because of, like I mentioned, I was always busy running around doing something, so I never really watched a lot. I play soccer, and I didn't even really watch a lot of it. So even to this day, I don't watch a lot of TV.
I try not to watch TV, but if I do, I'm watching a Laker game.
For sure. Sports and playoffs, I'll try to catch all that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big Laker fan, and that I think I owe it to my one of my cousins when I used to get dropped off to get babysat. Like, he was a big like Laker fan.
Cool.
Raider fan. So I think I just took from him like just everything I know. Is just like he's like my big brother.
Yeah.
So was there anybody that really influenced you to be how you are? Just like your parents, maybe? Or you had a best friend? Or
my mom and dad, shout out to them because they've always kept me in line. My dad was one of the strictest parents of all my friends and family, so I definitely had that. So shout out to him. He works amazingly hard at night and day. Sometimes still to this day, it's like, he makes me look bad, and and I thought I worked hard. But someone, I had at one point 2 cousins that lived with me. Well, 3. But when I was growing up, I had 2 older cousins. They're both 5 years older than me, different times. And they were like older brothers to me. Juan and Alfredo, they both live now. One is in Texas, one's in Mexico.
Okay.
But yeah, they were like older brothers to me. And still to this day, like, I talk to them like they are my older brothers.
That's so cool. Because like I like kind of have the same way. Like when I was a kid, I wasn't able to even go across the street. That's how strict my parents were.
Yeah.
And I lived like in not in a good area in Las Vegas. So I don't know if you know the Eureka Casino.
Yeah.
So I lived like right there, like behind that. So it was just like really rough over there. Always getting into fights and like seen a lot of things. And I say it in my stand up too. Like I was exposed to seeing like prostitution at a very young age and not understanding what it was until like I got older. Like, oh, that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
And then I got exposed to like, gang violence and like people drugged up everywhere, and I didn't understand what it was. So it was like normal to me.
Gotcha.
But one thing about like my dad, you're saying your dad was very strict on you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you could look back at it and like, I'm pretty sure he's told you the same thing my dad's told me. He's like, one day you're gonna understand and you're gonna thank me.
Man, and I still hear it to this day. I hear that all the time, regardless whether it's work, family, girlfriend, fiance, friendships, anything. He still always says that. Like, that's something that he's just engraved in me for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Because like all of my friends, and I'm not trying to air anybody out, but like it's just the way it is. Like they were either like doing bad things, and I was very young. I'm easily influenced and stuff. So like they saw it, and they kept me. Like I wasn't able to do anything, and I would hate them. I'm like, why can't I go outside?
Oh yeah, trust me, I had plenty of those nights.
And then like I think about it now, I'm like, I'm the only one that went to college. I'm the only one that's doing all right.
Yeah,
and
it's crazy.
And it's for a reason. So I shout out to my parents. Shout out to your parents for keeping us in line.
Yeah, for sure. With that, I wanted to say, you know, your dad must be a lot like mine. So my grandma once told me that he was probably the most troublesome kid. So you know, it does make sense why they're that way, and you know, it's worked out. So I'm very appreciative of everything that they've done for me, for sure.
Definitely. I think there's like a joke that I was gonna like make when I was doing stand up is the premise of the joke was that the parents that used to wild out the most, like they're the strict ones because they know what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah. With that, you said I could ask you questions. When are you gonna do your next stand up? I mean, even if you do it virtually or something along those lines.
I should, huh? Yeah, because the thing is that like I'm always writing jokes constantly. The way my thought process of like creating jokes is like I don't watch stand-up comedians because I don't want to steal from them. Yeah. Because it's like you could think you made it up, but like later on you look back and it's like, oh, this person said it before. Yeah. So I try not to. But when I write jokes, I was like, I say something in person to somebody and it's funny and I'm like, give me a second.
Let me write this down.
Let me write this one down.
You better start getting your notes going, man.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but all these right here are jokes I haven't said before.
Oh, dope.
So
man. they're scrolling and it's just scrolling and scrolling.
So I could go right now, honestly. Like I could go for another 30 minutes.
I think we should make that happen soon.
Yeah,
man.
I got to. Yeah. But, there was actually so I did stand up twice, and the first time it was so dope because I don't know. I'm gonna ask you something. When you were growing up, I know I feel like everybody did it. Like when you're very like learning how to, you're very young. You're learning how to write. You know, like when you're in kindergarten or something, and they asked you, "What do you want to be when you grow up?"
Yeah.
What was yours?
Oh man, I want to say it was like a lawyer. I want to say that was it. Like
a lawyer.
A lawyer, yeah. I'm far from that, but you know, I'm happy where I'm at, and I think everyone leads in different directions. And you know, if you're not where you want to be now, now's the time to change that. So I actually posted my sister today, which I want to shout her out. It's her birthday. Bianca, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Bianca.
Yeah. And my other sister, Diana, just want to say hello to both of them, since this is the first time I ever get to do something like this. But yeah, I mean, you know, even now, like sometimes I feel like, is this really what I want to do? And, you know, I ask myself that all the time, and, you know, I'm still figuring things out, and I'm 30 years old, and, you know, you'd think I'd have everything figured out, and people may think I do, but I don't.
Yeah, I know. And that's the whole part of the learning process. And people go to school for a certain degree, a certain concentration, and most of the time they end up doing something else because they find themselves.
Exactly.
But like when I was a kid, and a lot of people made fun of me for it, but I remember specifically, like I wanted to be a stand-up comedian when they told me that. So I have a little poster. I wish I could. I don't know what happened to it. I wish I had it.
Oh, that's dope.
I wish I had it, but like it, you know, like little crayon draw with like the worst handwriting ever. Yeah. But it says stand-up comedian, and then when I turned it in, my teacher, I mean, God bless her, she was like, "Okay, that's a very good dream job you want to have, but do you think you could write one that you would go to college for?" And I'm like, fine. But FBI agent, like, but like, dude, like, since I was a kid, I've always wanted to do that. That's
awesome, man, and you can still make that happen.
I hope so.
And you're already on like the right footsteps, and you know, I can't wait to see the next video or whatever you can make happen in the next couple of weeks, months, man. So.
I always a lot right now. Like, I want to give a little shout out to my manager, which is Sean Carter. He actually booked it up for me. Like, he kind of like threw me. To the deep end.
That's how it works sometimes.
He said, hey bro, I don't know if you're free. I mean, I know you're free. You told me you're free, but I signed you up to do stand-up on this day. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, fuck. Like, you really did that? Like, because he was listening to me when I would say, like, oh, what I wanted to do and stuff. So he finally, like, he's the one that just, like, said it for me. And I'm like, damn it. Like, I don't think I was ready. But then, like, close to, like, 100 people showed up for me.
Dude, that's so dope. And I remember seeing my cousin there, and I was like, man, that would have been dope. And I feel like I'd just been to, where was it, Bunkhouse Saloon? Or
yeah, it's Bunkhouse,
right?
yeah.
So I'd just been there maybe 2 weeks prior, And so I knew the place, and I thought the place was cool. So I was like, man, like if I would have known, or like I would have been there, like that would have been dope. Especially since, you know, family was there and like friends of mine were there, so that would have been dope. So that's awesome. I mean, sometimes that's how it works. Like you get thrown into the fire, and you gotta essentially make it out, if you want to call it that. But good for you, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. And it's funny because like it wasn't really specifically open mic. It was like, oh, sorry, it wasn't stand up. It was like an open mic.
Okay.
So you could read poetry, do music, or do stand up. In my case, nobody knew that I was even able to do stand up. Yeah. Nobody knew that I was like gonna either like freeze or like choke or like fucking bomb up there. Yeah. So they put me in first. Like they're like, all right, you're first, and I'm like, all right, bet. And then everybody, like, shit you not, like there was probably more than 100 people, but everybody was there for me. And then I went, and as soon as I went, I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm actually doing good. I'm gonna keep going. And then before I went up there, I told the guy that was in charge of it, I was like, hey, all these people are here for me. Do you mind if I go a little longer? And he's like, yeah, go ahead. And then I was originally gonna go 10 minutes, but I ended up going 30.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and I just kept going, and I was killing it. Like I was killing it, man.
Feeling yourself.
Yeah, feeling it, man. And I had a really good time, and yeah, it was great. And then that gave me the confidence to do my second show, which the second show like close to 200 to some people. Those are like, I don't want to say they're the non-believers that didn't think I'd do it right the first time, and they saw that I did it, and then they come. You know, but I appreciate everybody that comes, for real. Like I appreciate everybody that supports me, because I have a lot of supporters, and and I know you do too. So like
for sure,
they see greatness in us. And what's something that you admire of yourself? And I hate that I put you on the spot like that, but because it's kind of narcissistic. But
no, I mean, it's totally fine. I just recently, just a couple weeks ago, someone that I look up to asked me, you know, what is something that you love to do? And I feel like I'd never really have thought of that, other than, you know, playing sports and, you know, being healthy and all this other stuff. But, you know, helping is something that I love to do. So that's something that I've learned about myself, and something that I want to continue doing. So it's something that I'm working on, and you know, just even doing something like this, like I don't know if I'm helping you or not, but it's helping me grow, and I'm getting way out of my comfort zone to be doing this. But I'm glad I'm here, and you know, getting to know you a little more, and you know, this is awesome, man. So like I've told you before, if there's anything that I can ever help you with, or anyone else, like hit me up.
Yeah, I appreciate you, for real, and I like interviewing like people that I think are successful, and people that I could learn from. So like I appreciate you being here, and I know like we could like I know you could teach me a lot of things, and I just want to like come to you as like a mentor.
Yeah, and vice versa, man. I'm learning so much just by being here and doing this. Like this is awesome. Like I want to be here for the next one, just kicking it, you know.
Yeah, hey, we could just shoot the shit next time. We could just talk about whatever. Right now I just wanted to get to know you a little more.
Yes, on camera.
Yeah. No, and you know what's funny? I feel like the conversation that we were having before we started recording was like better than what we had right now.
For sure. I mean,
and that's how it is. It's just like when you have kosher conversations, like especially with somebody that like actually vibes with you. And I hate saying that, like vibes. That's like kind of like weird. But like just, you know, gels with you, and they reciprocate your energy and stuff. Yeah. The conversations I've always had off air are always the best ones. Yeah. And like I told you, I was like, man, I wish this was on the podcast.
Yeah. No, it's all good. I mean, like I hope you want me back, and you know, at another point we talk about other stuff, and you know, I'm not the boring self that I think I am, and you know, and maybe we come up with something else. So
yeah, definitely, man. I appreciate you supporting the RaulyKnows podcast, and this is going to air as the first episode of season 2. So thank you for doing that, being here. Course, man, I know you're busy man, superintendent. And that's super inspiring, and just for you to just take the time out of your day to just be here.
No, I like I've told a lot of people, I make time for the things that I want to do, and everyone should, you know, do the things that you want to do, and you know, and it'll all work out. It all falls into place.
Definitely. And if there's, I mean, I don't know if I could ask this, but like, if you have any advice for somebody like that's starting anything, not just like a business or anything, but just like starting to believe in themselves, or starting to like try to find out themselves or something, like is there something that you can, like, you know, give us words of wisdom?
Yeah, I mean, I think like what you just said, you know, you need to actually believe in yourself. because not a lot of people will, or not someone's not going to do it for you. So you need to actually believe in yourself, and no matter what it's in, whether it's working out, whether it's a business, whether it's homework, like if you already think like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, then that's already not believing in yourself.
Right.
So believe in yourself. You could do it. Like, get through it. I like to think that, like, sometimes the struggle is part of the process. So, grind it out, do whatever you have to do, and believe in yourself.
Definitely. And that's one thing I wanted to add to that is that there's going to be a lot of people that don't believe in what you think. Mm-hmm. And just because they failed, they think that you can't do it either.
Yeah.
But those, and if they keep giving you negative vibes, I feel like you just need to, like,
yeah, and
kind of steer away, even though it hurts you because that you love them as a person. And sometimes it just, like, you'd be surprised how much growth happens in your life when you not just cut people out, but just, like, focus on
what you believe in or what you want to do. Yeah, because
negative energy for sure. Kind of like I see you have what, Karma on the side.
Yep.
What is that?
Shout out to the Karma Project. It's a brand that I ran into a couple months ago, and I really like what they do. So they reciprocate good things to people. So karma is a big thing for me. What goes around comes around, and you just gotta give what you want in return.
Definitely, and that's one thing I do believe in. I believe in karma, and I would just, like, try to avoid doing things to other people that would, I guess, like, the quote I'm looking for is, like, don't spit in the wind because it'll come back to get you.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, definitely, and I appreciate your words of wisdom. I appreciate your time. Is there anything?
Thank you.
Is there anything you want to ask or share before we end this episode?
Maybe just ask you. I want to hold you accountable to keep doing this. So.
Oh no, definitely.
I want to know when the next one is. When can we expect more?
Definitely,
something along those lines.
Like you said, you're learning a lot about yourself just being here. I'm learning more about podcasting.
Yeah.
And interviewing more people.
Yeah.
So the more people I interview, I try to make it better than it was before. But I really appreciate your time, man. And I hate being, like, repetitive. But
but you didn't answer my question. Do you have, maybe write it down? I see a calendar there. Write things down. Make it happen, man.
Yeah, I got to.
Yeah.
I got to be more organized. And
I'll follow up. Don't worry.
I got to hold myself accountable, too, because I say I don't have time, and I do.
Yeah.
You can always make time.
We always make time for what we want.
And, like, going back to, like, the whole college thing, I feel like I had more time when I was in college.
Oh, same thing.
Than I have now.
For sure. I was working 2 jobs, going to school full time, still playing sports, and I had, quote unquote, less time, but more time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. Man. I appreciate you. And you want to sign out? You want to say something to the people?
I appreciate you for having me here. Thank you. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, so I'm glad I'm finally here. Shout out to everyone that believes in me and follows me, and keep on the lookout for Raul over here. He's going to be doing big things soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.